So today I'm going to be talking about ethical principles of marketing yourself. So I'm going to share my screen, and I think that looks good on your end. Michelle, thumbs up. Okay, cool. And then I really want this to be more of a conversation. So if you all are able to chat, and Michelle, if I don't see it, maybe you can call it out to me because then that'll help. But I would love that because that helps me a lot. So with that, I'm gonna start presenting. Okay, so a little bit about me. I'm originally from the Bay Area. I went to Cal State Long Beach in 2005, and I graduated in 2009 with a marketing degree. I originally was a chem major, and I just could not pass Chem 100. So I think my parents wanted me to be a doctor, and I thought, you know what, I can't even pass Chem 100. So I'm going to do what I want to do, which is marketing. And I like to share that because I think sometimes I know that and if you want to put this in the chat too, I know that over half the students at Cal State Long Beach are first gen students. So if you are, put that in the chat and let me know. My parents are from Vietnam, and they left and escaped the Vietnam War. They lived in a refugee camp, and they came to America, and I was born here. So all that to say is that sometimes in life we do things because our parents want us to. And if you are passionate about something or want to major in something or have a career in something, but you're being pulled another way that doesn't align with your values and your passions, know that your life comes first. So I would highly encourage any students, or even if you're starting your career now, to go for something that you really enjoy because you're going to be doing this for a long time. And to know that you can always switch it up. So if you're like, well, I'm already stuck somewhere, you can shift that. So currently I work in marketing. I live in Long Beach. And when I was at Cal State Long Beach, I was in the American Marketing Association and the International Business Association. Okay. I have done speaking engagements at Cal State Long Beach for the last decade, and I wanted to share that mainly because when I started, it was really uncomfortable for me to speak, and I just think that it's important that if you feel uncomfortable but you want to do something, that you are really that your heart's in there, just know that it's normal to have a little fear or a little uncomfortability, but I always try to think of like the end goal of what my purpose and my intention is, and that helps me overcome the fears that I have. I recently got the first ever 49 under 49 award at Cal State Long Beach, which is really an honor. And it's because of the work that I've done and volunteering I've given back to Cal State Long Beach, including events like this. And I'm super happy to give back because my mentors and people helped me. So if you're able to, when you graduate, you can come back and help students too. I also wrote a book a few years ago called How We Got Here. It's a guided journal for people to get to know their families and loved ones by asking them meaningful questions, especially if you are children of immigrants or if you're grandparents or anyone are immigrants. This is a great way to capture your story of how they got to where they are today. To share this, I didn't know how to write a book, so one day I Googled how to write a book and I watched a YouTube video and I thought, this is so crazy. How can I write a book? I wasn't even a journalism or a comm, or I don't even know what major you would need to write a book, but it was something I was really passionate about. And I share this because I think in life, sometimes we hold ourselves back thinking we're not qualified for something because we don't have a label or that we don't have a degree or experience in something. And that's not the case. You can learn things on your own. I learned how to write a book through YouTube and Google, and it became a #1 bestseller on Amazon. And fun fact, this is breaking news, but I just finished my second book, and I finished it this morning at midnight. So on 11/1. So it is called We're All Weirdos, and it is a book about how to embrace your inner uniqueness and how to have confidence and be yourself for joy and success. So I'm really excited that I'm going to be launching that in the next few weeks. So yeah, and this was 4 years ago. So I finished that yesterday, or I guess today. And so yeah, people always ask me, are you going to write a second book? And I was like, no, I don't think so. I think I'm good. And I got really inspired by something that happened with me where I felt like, you know what, I do want to write about this part of my life, about how I've always felt odd and how to overcome that. And recently I won a pageant. I was Miss Southern California in 2023. I joined a pageant on a whim a couple hours before it started, hoping to meet new people, new great women in the community, and thinking if I won, I would be able to give back. But I didn't really think I was going to win. So I just was going to just go try and I ended up winning. So it was a great experience. And going back to the book I just talked to you about, it was really about being myself and being authentic, and that's what helped me win. So right now, what I do is I work in at Salesforce, which is a tech company. I've worked there for 7 years. It should say seven at the bottom, but yeah, I've worked there for 7 years. I have a background in marketing. Currently, I help our customers learn how to use our marketing tools. I've worked at these places on the screen. And yeah, I work in tech in the day, and then I do a lot of the side things I talked about for fun, like that. And so I wanted to share all that with you because I think it's important for me to share who I am before I speak to you about marketing yourself and branding yourself, because now you know a little about me and my background. And the point of today's conversation is not necessarily what you need to do to sell yourself, but it's how to show up confidently and as yourself, to really get into opportunities and spaces that you want to get into, whether that's a job, something new, getting outside your comfort zone. And so, real fast, I'm just going to check the chat. Oh, thank you, you guys. It's so nice to your congratulations. Okay, perfect. I'm going to put it here so I can see. Okay. So the reason why it's so important to brand and market yourself is because you have goals in life, and that can be anything. Maybe you want a new job, maybe you want an opportunity, maybe you want to meet someone new or do something new. So it's really important to put yourself out there. And I think that there's a huge stigma. Growing up Asian, like first gen, I was told to always like, keep the peace, be humble, don't brag about yourself, like just when you do something, don't really celebrate. And, I don't believe in that. I want to change the narrative. I am changing the narrative to say it's okay to put yourself out there. As long as you are aligned with what your values are and you're intentional and it comes from a good place, you should absolutely feel confident to brand and market yourself and put yourself out there. And to celebrate your wins. So we're going to talk about all that today. And it's really about enjoying life too. Like when you're able to do this, you get to break out of so many places that might be spaces where you thought like, oh, I can only be here. But like, look at the things I've done. I never thought I could be in any of those spaces, but I put myself out there with the intention, and I got to be in really amazing spaces, including today. So, you just never know where you end up. Okay, so a couple things I want to talk about with branding and marketing yourself. And I have a bunch of slides, but I'm going to just go over key things that I think will resonate with today. And that is having a really great LinkedIn. So number one is, if you have a LinkedIn, please find me and add me, or maybe put your LinkedIn in this chat for others here. This is great networking. All five of you don't know each other, so you can share who you are with one another. But a great way to brand and market yourself is through LinkedIn, and that is really about, from the beginning, having a good LinkedIn profile. So having a great photo is super important. I see students and even new grads or other people that either don't have a photo or they have one that's really old or blurry or outdated. It's so important to have one good photo, because that represents you. Your face is on there, and it does not need to be a fancy photo. In fact, it can just be a great portrait mode off your iPhone behind a white wall. You can also use an AI app if you want different versions of headshots. You don't even need to go out and do that anymore. So have one great photo about yourself. On your LinkedIn profile, there's this place where you can put, describe who you are. And I would highly recommend you using that, like that summary, to telling a short story about who you are. And then putting everything that you do into your LinkedIn, as far as the jobs that you've had and what the description of what you've done, but then also what impact you've made. So that's really important for people to see, like what change have you made in that organization? And maybe you have like at Salesforce right now, I'm part of an equality group. I'm on the board of that, and so that's on there. And so anything that you're doing extracurricular wise, please put that on your LinkedIn as well. And also post on LinkedIn. I saw so many students. I was speaking last week at two events. I was the keynote speaker at the American Marketing Association, and I was the keynote at it was called Meet in the Industries Expo, and it was really fascinating to see how many people posted after that. I told them, hey, you guys should post about this event, and so many students posted about the events that they were at and what they learned and photos from there, and they tagged me. And it was so great to see that because they're sharing what is happening in their life. So whether you have something that you accomplished or it doesn't even have to be that. And which, by the way, if you do accomplish something, please post that. Maybe you finish a certification. I know who is Ryan, you're getting your MBA soon. I want a photo of that, okay? Of your degree and you posting about you getting your MBA. So it's okay. It's great for you to post and share these things on your LinkedIn. And then to also share any events that you're doing and what takeaways you've had and tag the people that have inspired you. And a lot of the posts I saw from last week was exactly that. So it's really great to put yourself out there in that way because it's showing that you are curious, you're learning, you're reflective, and it shows what you're doing as well. So I think LinkedIn is such a great way to really brand and market yourself there and to really put your events that you've been participating in and also what accomplishments that you've had so far. Okay, does anyone have any questions so far about anything? Or like, you want to just talk about another topic related to anything I talked about? Don't be shy. Okay, I'm gonna keep going, but if there's any time you want to ask me something or to chime in, I would love that. That really helps me because I don't really want to talk for an hour straight, but I will. But I would love if anyone wants to get off mute, ask a question, put in the chat, about anything. Okay, so those are a few things I want to talk about there with marketing. So I think what's also important with marketing branding, a huge part is networking. Every so much of my success has come from networking, and that every job I've had has come from someone that I knew or that I've networked with. And it's so important to network. And even if you're introverted or shy, you feel uncomfortable, I can totally understand that. But you do need to put yourself out there. And what I tell myself and introvert people, and by the way, I'm extroverted, I'm more extroverted, but at times I don't want to do things either. But I tell myself, hey, it's for an hour or 2 hours, and I'm gonna enjoy this for now. And then later on, I will go ahead and I will go home and then watch Netflix. So the point of that is yes, go network. And when you do, here's some tips. One, dress comfortably, but dress professionally. I think it's very important for everyone to look their best when they're networking, especially if you're trying to make connections. And I personally don't like dressing up at all. Like even before this call, I was basically in sweats and I almost came on this call with actually it wasn't sweats, it was a Cal State Long Beach sweater, which is like, sweat still. But I almost did do that because I was like, well, it's a Cal State Long Beach event, they're not gonna mind until Friday. But then I was like, no, you're talking about professionalism, so you need to do that. So, but the point is that even if you don't want to dress up, I get it, but you need to do that because it really shows that you're putting in effort and it makes you look super polished. So it's really good to dress up. Okay, I'm going to take a couple questions from the chat, which is, can we share our LinkedIn? Can we share on our LinkedIn that we're open to any field, even if it's not related to your major? Yes, absolutely. In fact, most of everyone I know, wherever they work in now has nothing to do with their major. If that makes sense. So like a lot of friends that I have, they majored in something and what they do for work now is not even related to it, which is great. And then I do have some friends that they majored in marketing, for example, and now they're in marketing. So it's definitely okay to say that you are that you're open to anything else that you're interested in. And maybe you tell why you are. So Kelly, I would love an example too, if you're able to share, so I can get really specific with what you mean by that. So maybe if you feel comfortable, tell me your major and then what you want to ask. Okay. On audio? Yeah. Does that mean you can come off mute or I don't know, but yeah, tell me.
Currently I am in applied mathematics with a finance focus, but if
Okay.
I'm being completely honest, I don't really know what I truly want to do. So
Hmm.
I'm hoping, even though I kind of have a vague goal that I hope I can get a job as either like maybe some entry level roles in like a finance or banking field, like maybe banker, tax audit. But personally, I'm open to taking any job
Yeah.
can right after I graduate, especially if it's like at that of a decent pay. I
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Kelly, for sharing that. By the way, on that note, it's okay if you don't know what you want to do. I just want to say that to anyone here in general, whether you're a student or you just graduated or you're getting your master's or you're already deep in your career and you're like, I don't even like this. It's okay to feel that way. A lot of people don't know what they want to do, and a lot of people have established careers and still feel that way where they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. So please know that that's completely normal. Because I think a lot of students I talk to that are kind of freaking out right now, and it's okay. Don't freak out. Like, this is why we're here to learn. But to answer your question, yes, I get what you're saying. You have a math major and finance minor, and you're not sure if you want to do that. And you're open to anything, especially there's money. Agreed. Okay, love that. And yeah, I would say, yeah, put yourself out there completely. And it's okay to not know if you I don't know if you do have an internship, Kelly, but like an internship is a great way to figure out what you want to do. Um, to start and the reason why is because you're able to work in something you may be interested in, but then you get to talk to a lot of people outside of that team, and maybe you see there's something else that you're interested in. So I would say like that's a great way to really figure out what you want to do. But to answer your question, you can definitely put that on LinkedIn, and yeah, you could say, you don't even need to even say like I have a different major. You can just say you're interested in this, and I would start trying to gain experience though, if it's something different. Like, let's just say, I'm giving an example. If you're in finance and math and you want to go into marketing, I would join the American Marketing Association. So at least you have something that is related so that when you're applying, you have some type of relation that's correlated to that. How do we start networking if we don't have a job? You don't need a job to start networking. A great way to start networking is through joining any of the organizations on campus. If you are still in school, and if you're not, you can go to networking events if you don't have a job. And you can also go to those career fairs, job fairs, anything like that. And that's a great way to network because they're usually recruiting at those events. And it's okay. It's you're a full-time student. If you are a full-time student, then you can say that. And that's why it's important to have organizations that you're in because that's extracurricular. But also, networking is great in those organizations because they have so many internships, they have so many speakers that come in, and they have a lot of great people that come to help the organizations out where you are able to network with them. So you can definitely do that if you don't have a job. And actually it's great if you don't because then maybe you can get a job through that. So yeah, so let me know if you have any other questions on that, Kelly, or anyone else. Please drop it in the chat. Okay, so when you're networking, speaking of that, besides dressing nicely because you want to come professional, it is very important for you to be on time with anything. I had a professor once tell me, and remember, I went to Cal State Long Beach almost 20 years ago. So I had a professor tell me if you are on time, you are late, and if you are early, you are on time. So the point of that is if you have a meeting with someone or an interview or someone you're going to see that's important or doesn't have to be important or not, but especially if they're important, please come a little early. And the point of that, or if you're going to a networking event, come on time. The point of that is not only does it show respect that you are on time, but it also shows that you not just that you care, but when you come energetically, you come relaxed. Like, you know how you have people that come in super late and they're super frantic or like, oh my gosh, I'm late because blah, blah. It's like that type of energy is much different from someone that comes early and they have extra time to relax, sit in their car, walk up leisurely to the place or whatever it is. So it's so important to really be on time to things that are important to you. I would say to anything, but especially things that are important to you because then you are energetically prepared, especially if you're networking, then that makes you more comfortable and confident rather than if you're coming late, then you already feel like you messed up and then it like exudes that. When you are networking, if you don't really like to talk to people because you're shy or introverted or uncomfortable or you just don't want to talk, ask questions. So ask questions and listen to people answer. This is a great way to network if you don't really feel like talking that much or you want to learn more. Ask people while you're networking and then listen. So when I say listen, I mean active listening. That means you're actually listening to what they're saying and being present. And the opposite of that is you thinking about other things while they're talking to you. So instead of thinking, oh my gosh, I feel so awkward, or like, what's for lunch, or I gotta go, or where's the bathroom, just sit there and listen to what they're saying and absorb it. And make sure that you're always at the end exchanging information. So I think it's really important, even if you don't have a job, to have cards, to have business cards. You can have it go to your LinkedIn, you can have a QR code. You just want a way where you're able to network and exchange information. This, like, I cannot emphasize how important this is because every opportunity I've received and every job I've had has been through networking and it has been through relationships that I've had. And every single person I know has had a job through networking as well. So it's important. And yes, you can make your own business cards. You can make your own business cards. I would say invest in it. I mean, if you guys are spending like, $10 on a Frappuccino, just spend that on business cards and you can just put full-time student. If there's something you're passionate about, put that on there. So there's ways you can do it with like listing the things you're passionate about. Like let's say you create content. You can say full-time student, content creator, whatever it is. I'm a bit confused on your carrier cards. Yes, that means that you print out your business cards, which are like little cards, and then you can have a few in your backpack, in your purse, and when you are meeting people, you can ask them for their business cards, especially if you're at networking events, people usually have their business card, and then you would give them your business cards. So when I say carry them, I mean like carry them with you around. I even have some in my car, so in my bags. So that's what that means. And let me know if you need more clarification on that. But it's important to have that because you are exchanging information. So like let's just say you're networking and talking, but then it goes nowhere because like that's the end of the conversation. So then you just both go separate ways. But now at this point, you're creating a relationship by giving them your information of where they can reach you and learn more about you, which then ties into like let's say your LinkedIn or who you are, or maybe you have a website. So yeah. So, does anyone have any questions on networking? It does not have to be made of specific material, but I would say get nice ones if possible. That makes you stand out. If you cannot afford that for any reason, then you can just get standard ones. But yeah, just have any. I mean, I've seen business cards that are really nice because it's a conversation starter too. Like people have like nice business cards, like they're thicker, or sometimes they're like that, like a metal feel. But whatever resonates with you is fine. But yeah, just print them out, carry them, have them in your bag, and then you can give them to people. And I will tell you that people that are working and not students are so impressed when students have business cards because literally nobody, like students don't really have that anymore. And it is really impressive, like because it means like you went an extra mile to have a card. So when you're like, let's just say you're at the career fair and you give them your business card, that they're going to remember you more than anyone. It makes you stand out. They're going to remember you more than the students that may not have that in your resume and you talking to them. So it's a package deal. You're networking, you're talking, you're dressing nice, you have your business card, you're prepared. And one of my favorite quotes Oprah says is there's no such thing as luck. It's when opportunity and preparation meet. So what that means is you're prepared. You're prepared with all the things I just told you, and now you're able to get more opportunities from it. All right. So other things besides carrying your cards is showing gratitude. So this is probably the most important, besides networking, this is the most important piece of advice I'm going to give you, which is to show your gratitude. So this is a piece of advice I got when I was in college that I did not understand. And this has brought every single part of my success today. So showing gratitude means simply saying thank you. So when you meet someone, and you they give you your time, make sure you send them a thank you note, a thank you email, a thank you text to say thank you so much for your time, for spending this time with me, and I really appreciate XYZ, maybe a takeaway that you had from the meeting or from even the conversation you had. Whenever you are interviewing, send a thank you email that says thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to interview with your company today, to the recruiters, to the hiring managers, to everyone. And if you don't know how to do that, you can use ChatGPT or you can Google how to write a thank you email for your interviews, because there's templates. And of course, please make it sound like yourself, but it is so important to say thank you. And I even know people today that hire people and they will not hire anyone that doesn't send them a thank you email. They will hire someone less qualified that didn't send them a thank you, that send them a thank you email versus someone that's qualified that didn't. And the point of that is they rather work with someone that has gratitude and resilience than someone that's kind of like, oh, okay, like I don't care that much. That's how they see it. So it's so like I just talked to someone last week at Cal State Long Beach who works at Cal State Long Beach, who was just interviewing for a position, and she ended up hiring a woman that sent a thank you email who was less qualified versus the other person that was more qualified that didn't. And she was like, you know what? It really meant a lot to me that she cared so much about this position and our time. And that type of energy is the type I want in my office. Like the rest she can learn, but that's the type of person I want. And I think that's true amongst so many people that I know that hire too. Of course, skills and experience are important, but that gives it you an extra touch, and it goes above and beyond. And the same with networking too. Anytime you all want to talk to anyone, thank them ahead of time. So I'm going to give you an example. Like, let's just say I'll use me as an example. Maybe after this call, you want to talk to me next week for, just chat and pick my brain or something. A great email to send someone like myself or anyone would be saying, hey, I really appreciate us connecting. I know you're super busy and I want to know if you could connect. I really appreciate your time in advance, et cetera, et cetera. So it could be short and sweet, but the point is to thank someone, because then they feel like, wow, you really do value my time, because people are busy. And even if they're not, they feel valued and seen and heard when you're thanking them. So make sure you're thanking people ahead of time too, because you're more likely to be able to have a conversation with them. And then lastly on the slide, be yourself. When you're networking, I know it can be nerve-wracking sometimes or uncomfortable, but it is so important to just know that you can be yourself. I'm myself all the time. I'm a weirdo. That's why I wrote a book about it. And it's got me this far, as you all saw with my accomplishments. So I know that you can be yourself too. You just had an interview 2 weeks ago. Is it too late to send a thank you email now? Yeah, no worries. It's okay, Rachel. And thank you so much for sharing that that piece. You can send a thank you email. You can say like I would definitely Google or ChatGPT a template to say it because it's 2 weeks late, but from the just on top of my mind, I would say like, hey Michelle, I just wanted to thank you for interviewing me, for interviewing me recently. You don't have to say 2 weeks ago. So then, because she might be like, oh, 2 weeks ago, I thought it was last week. So just say recently, I interviewed with you and I just wanted to send you a thank you note. I really appreciate it. I would add things that you enjoyed about it, such as like, I really enjoyed hearing about your role or your time that you've had there, or just something that complements them. I would say in that same email what you really enjoyed about hearing about the company and why you want to work there. Because I'm assuming you want to work there, Rachel. That's why you want to send us thank you note. So maybe, right. I really enjoyed hearing about how Google runs their analytics team and how your team works. And I would be such a great fit because XYZ. And then just wrap it up and say, looking forward to next steps and hearing back from you or something in those lines. So, and again, there's like a template you can use, but I'm just free balling this right now for you. But it would be something like that. And it's not too late. And you're so welcome, Rachel. Yeah, but please do send that email. I would do it after this call. It's Friday afternoon. So people are usually checked out by Friday afternoon. Like do it maybe at 1 o'clock. Yeah, I don't mind if you do it now, but just no, do it after. But do it either today or like Monday afternoon. But usually like Fridays and Mondays are people are like in and out. So yeah. Yes, no problem. Any other questions about that? But yes, it is important to really send that thank you email. It makes such a huge difference, and I'm glad that you're able to do that now. No, it's not too late. It's never too late to say thank you to anyone. You guys, I just found my sixth grade teacher, which was from 25 years ago. I found him by, I had like a Facebook search hunt for him. Like I was like, you guys, I'm trying to find my sixth grade teacher. And and I couldn't remember his first name. So long story short, it was like 40 comments trying to find him. We finally found his first and last name. And then I Googled him. He's not on social media at all. So I like went through a rabbit hole, found one website, found his email, and I emailed him last week and I thanked him for everything he did for me in sixth grade. And that was 25 years ago. So you know what? It's never too late to say thank you. That's my point. And I've been wanting to do that for years. So yeah, never too late to say thank you to the people that have helped you. All right, so a few other things about your confidence. We talked about posting about your success when you are working with branding and marketing yourself. And this is more towards if you want to get promotions or if you want to really advocate for yourself is you need to document everything. No one taught me this in college, but no, you don't get to get promoted just for your kicks. You actually have to present yourself in a way that like your boss and your team are going to want to promote you and give you more money. And a huge way to do that is to document everything you've done. So maybe you've worked on these projects, you've projected XYZ impact, all these things. You're going to need to showcase this to your boss or team. And it's important for you to document things. And the best way to do it is when you're done with something, just put it in an Excel sheet. And then by the time your promotion comes, you're going to have these conversations. And it's easier for you to showcase this rather than trying to think of everything you did in the last year. So this is really important. It's important to advocate for yourself with that. So yeah, no one's going to do anything for you. If I can give you one piece of advice, okay, I keep saying that, but okay, don't worry about the other ones. But gratitude for sure. Okay, gratitude networking. But another one is, you have to advocate for yourself. No one's really going to do that. There will be times where people do, where they're like, they will advocate for you, but most of the time you're gonna have to do it yourself because no one knows you better than you. So advocate for yourself and be comfortable with that. Don't feel weird being like, oh my gosh, I got to cheer myself on. You probably cheer so many people else on. And so it's okay to do it for yourself too, for things that you want. It's important to have a mentor. So if you don't have a mentor or a coach right now, it's so important to have that. I wouldn't be where I'm at today without my mentors. And that's important too with branding and marketing yourself because they're able to see things that you can't see and give you feedback and help you. But then also they have a huge network of people too. So whenever you need help with something or you need something, or maybe even a job, they're able to tap into their network to help you. So I know that Cal State Long Beach has such a great mentorship program. And I think there's, even an alumni, there's a whole, I feel like people can connect in that way too. So mentorship is super important. And, anytime you feel odd about self-advocating yourself, try to think of it as a party. Like, so that's why my bullet point says party invites. So I try to explain this with marketing yourself as like you're having a really great party and you want people to come. And so, like, let's just say you're branding yourself. So if you're having a party, you have an intention, which is maybe you want people to come to your party so they enjoy themselves. They're eating, there's food, there's whatever. So you are your own party. And if you don't send out invites to your party that you're having, right? Who's going to come to your party for all the stuff you want them to enjoy? So it's the same thing as branding yourself. If you're not telling people about what you're doing, no one's going to know. So you can never be in those spaces. But if you do tell people by all things we're talking about, by actually telling them, by posting, by putting yourself out there, by networking, that's where the opportunities come, is when you're telling people about what you're doing. And if you feel uncomfortable, just tell yourself like, why do I want to do this? And come up with something you're really confident in. And it's like, you know what, I really want to get a job. And so I'm going to tell people about this. And so there's your intention. You want to be able to get a job, or maybe you want people, if you're starting a side business, um, get really comfortable with what your intention is. Maybe you wrote a book. I'm just going to use my example. So for me, I wanted people to connect with each other. So that was my intention. I was like, I really want people to connect. So I felt comfortable with marketing the book, because I knew that was my intention, to have people connect. So anytime you feel like this is uncomfortable for me, ask yourself, well, why are you doing this anyways to start with? And then get really good with that. And then start branding and marketing yourself based on that. So you're like, okay, I'm good because I know who I am, what I'm doing, and it's for a good intention. So it's important to do that. Just like sending out your party invites, you want everyone to come to your party because you want them to have fun, as an example. You're telling and marketing yourself for that same reason for yourself in other ways. All right. And then lastly for this, to build your confidence, I am, like humans on average have 60,000 thoughts, and on average, 80% of those 60,000 thoughts are negative, and 95% of those thoughts are repetitive. So it's really important if you want to really put yourself out there and change your mindset, to first know that, but then become self-aware with your thoughts. And you need to start talking to yourself like you would to other people that you care about, including your best friend. So anytime you're saying something negative about yourself, like, I'm not good enough, what if I can't do this, XYZ, first off, you have to know those are your thoughts. So you have to be self-aware, be like, wait, okay, that's a thought. This chick named Nancy told me we have 60,000 thoughts a day. Now that I'm noticing them, these are kind of negative. So that's the first step, because most of our thoughts are just in passing and we're just not aware, which is fine. But now you guys know. Then the second thing is to reverse that by, telling yourself, like, would I tell this to someone I care about, my best friend? Would I tell my best friend that I suck, that she sucks? Because I'm telling that to myself. The answer is, I'm hoping no, unless you have a toxic best friend. Then you need to change those thoughts in your head. And it's good. I love reading books. Like, self-help books are really good, and I read books all the time that help me, or listen to podcasts. It's good to talk to someone, and then just embrace who you are. And with overcoming imposter syndrome, which is such a great question, Kelly, is imposter syndrome, to explain that, is when you feel like you're a fraud. So you feel like you're a fraud, or like you don't belong somewhere. You just feel like someone's gonna find you out because you're an imposter and you don't know what you're doing. I've had that so much in my life. And you know what sucks? I didn't even know this was a term until like my late 20s, when my boss was like, oh, you have imposter syndrome. I was like, what the hell is imposter syndrome? And she's like, oh, it's when, like, what I just explained to you. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. And she's like, no, actually, a lot of successful people have this. You know that Beyonce has imposter syndrome, by the way. So if Beyonce has imposter syndrome, just know it's normal. But it means, like, there's part of you feels like you're a misfit, or you don't feel good enough, or you feel like you don't belong there. And you feel like an imposter. So to overcome this, there's several ways to do this. One, you have to know that you're in that seat or in that role for a reason. Someone chose you to be there, or you somehow got into that space, and it belongs to you, and you deserve to be in that space. Even if you feel like, I don't know what I'm doing, you can tell yourself, you know what, I will figure it out. You can look at the things that you've done, to how far you've come to get to where you're at. So, like, if you think, hey, I don't deserve to be here because maybe this is not a job that I've had, think about everything you've done that has gotten you to the place that you're at, to overcome that. Another way to get over imposter syndrome is to actually talk to someone about it. Like, tell someone that you feel safe with or close to, and they will give you perspective. Like, I've had to do that so many times, where I'm like, I don't know if I'm qualified to speak at this thing or be at this thing. And the people I trust, even it could be my therapist, my wellness coach, my friends, whoever, be like, hello, I love you, girlfriend. You gotta wake up. Look at all the stuff you've done. You belong there. And yeah, so it's good to talk it out with someone, because sometimes we could be in our own head, and like that's just like a spiral. So if you feel like that, talk to someone that you trust, that cares about you. I'm not talking about the toxic person that might be like, your aunt that's like negative. That's like, oh yeah, I know you don't belong there. We're not, you don't go to people like that. You go to people that are going to support and lift you up. And then yeah, just to wrap it up, really know your worth and, going back to imposter syndrome, know that your worth is not based on everything that you've done, not your school, not your degree, but you're worthy, period, no matter what, and that you belong in those places. So just know that like it's okay, even if you feel like, well, I feel like I'm lacking right now. I don't have a job or like I don't really know what I'm doing. It's okay. Everyone has their own struggle, and just know that you are worthy no matter what. And I do want to reiterate to be yourself. I think this is so important to conclude that it is really important through everything I've shared with you of how to brand and market yourself. The best way to do it is to be yourself. Be genuine, be authentic. If you try to fake it, it's way worse. Okay, marketing and branding yourself is not pretending to be someone you're not. It's just being your best self. And your best self is you. So don't try to be like other people. I used to always try to be like that. For example, like my boss in my early 20s was super like put together and articulate, and I always wanted to be like her, but I was like so tired all the time. I can't do this. I just want to be me, which is obviously you guys have heard me talk for 4 to 5 minutes, so you probably have an idea of how I am. So, I learned that that is how my success has come. Even speaking at Cal State Long Beach, they're like, oh my gosh, we just like that you're yourself. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's good enough. And it is good enough. So be yourself. That is your brand, is being you. So if you have any questions, you can add me on Instagram, LinkedIn. That's my QR code for it. I have a website. Go check it out, and you can contact me anytime, like next week, in 10 years, whatever. So, and yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions, or I can pass it back to you, Michelle, with any other thoughts.
Yeah, I can just check in real quick, just to see if anyone here is part of the Faculty and Staff Career Advocate Program and you're attending here today to get credit for that. Just let me know in the chat and I can share the QR code to get you credit for attending. So just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, I mean, Nancy shared that she's happy to address any questions you might have. So we're happy to stay on and see, what else we all can help you with. If you feel like got what you needed, Nancy, unless you have anything else you wanted to add, people can kind of come and go as they would like. But we hope you'll take advantage of this time to maybe take advantage of Nancy and ask any questions that you've been wondering about your job search, marketing, anything that you think it'd be helpful to get that perspective from someone who has a lot of work experience and has done a lot of networking and all the things that, we know we want to be doing as part of our job search, but sometimes can be a little harder to get started.
Yeah. Any tips on staying positive when getting a bunch of rejections? I love this question so much because I think resilience is so important. And resilience is basically, being able to bounce back without dwelling on, our feelings of rejection for so long. Of course, feel how you want, but, know that um, it'll pass. But what I always tell myself and what helps me every time, and I still do this, is I always tell myself that a rejection, that it's not a rejection, that it's a redirection, so that I feel like, okay, if it's not this, it's going to be something better meant for me. And I still do this because I would get rejected too, by the way. And I tell myself this, I'm like, okay, like that's all good. It doesn't mean like I don't process it. Of course, I feel like, oh, that sucks, but I'm only like, okay, I'm gonna let myself feel like that for a few, and then this is not for me. Like this isn't for me, but something better will come. And Rachel, if you look at your whole life and think about all the times you were rejected, think about what happened after that and how you were able to actually grow from that and pivot, and how far you came. Like literally, I want you to think of like 3 examples how when you got rejected. I'm going to give you some examples to think of. Maybe you got dumped. Okay. Maybe you got dumped from a relationship. Maybe a friend didn't want to talk to you. Maybe like these jobs that you had, but in the past, like I'm talking about in the past, but you always overcame that. So a great way to look at it is like, hey, it's okay. This will pass, and it's going to take me to where I want to go. And this is a lesson I'm learning, and it's going to redirect me to something better. So let me know if that helps. How do I get started searching and applying for jobs when I've not worked? Joining those organizations is really great, Kelly. And have you had any jobs at all? You're so welcome, Rachel. Like even at Starbucks or something like that. Okay, that's fine. So no problem at all. I would highly suggest, and can you remind me, or maybe Michelle can remind me, you're a current student, I believe. Um, you can join organizations that are in your field, that you can, that will help you, that will help your resume being a part of those organizations. And because you could be on committees there, subcommittees, you could be on the board, you can participate even if you don't want to be on the board or anything like that, but that gives you things to put in your resume that are extracurricular, and that's really important. You can also get certifications if you're interested in certain topics, and you can put that on. But it's okay if you don't have any jobs, but you kind of want extracurricular things on there, or just talking about maybe even projects or a portfolio that you might have from your what you've been learning in school. So that's really important.
Yeah, and I would also add that you're welcome to set up an appointment with a career counselor here in the Career Center because we can share with you, ways if you are wanting to look for a job, right, and kind of get that first position to add to your resume. But also beyond that, we have different tools that can help you. Like we have a tool called Forage where you can do virtual experience projects. They're basically job simulations with actual companies, and you can enlist those as projects on your resume. So if you're interested in trying out marketing, for example, there's like marketing projects you can do online. They're self-paced. So we have a lot of different resources that can help you. So I would encourage you maybe to set up an appointment. You can do that. If you're a current student, you can do that through Beach Connect, and meet with somebody in the Career Center so that you can take advantage of all the resources that are available to you.
Great, thanks, Michelle. And yeah, and there's also I've seen and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, but there's really cool positions at Cal State Long Beach too for students. I always see like flyers on the wall that's like you just have to be a student and then you could be like the marketing person for, an organization or whatever. So yeah, so there's I think great opportunities at Cal State Long Beach to work at as students.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of on-campus positions in CareerLink in our job board. And then Kelly, you were asking, yeah, it's called Forge. It's located in CareerLink. So if you haven't really checked out CareerLink before, it would be under the resources tab there. Um, and yeah, we're happy to help you with kind of getting started in that if you need help.
Great. Any other questions you have before I get back in my Cal State Long Beach sweater and lay down with my water bottle? Does all this apply to you? Oh, I think Michelle, that's for you.
Yeah, so you have access to all of our services here in the Career Center for 1 year after you graduate, at no cost to you. After that 1 year point, you still have access to all of our services aside from the one-on-one counseling appointments. Those you can still access, but there would be a fee attached. So for the 1 year period, everything is free. After 1 year, there would be a fee for the counseling appointments. But yes, you can still access CareerLink, our job boards, all of our online tools. Once you lose access through single sign-on, after you've graduated, you can access those through our website. So if you go to the Career Center website, we do have an alumni tab that kind of explains how all of that works. But you're still welcome to attend our job fairs, any events that we're having. We have information sessions with different employers. So a lot of opportunities, like Nancy was talking about, to network and get connected.
See,
Great, thank
thank
you,
you so
Michelle.
much. Thank you for the presentation and thank you for answering my questions.
You're so welcome, Kelly, and I hope you connected with me.
I will. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. All right, thank you, everyone. Okay, yay.
All right, so I'm going to stop the recording.